Hello everybody, welcome to another fantasy football video by Koopa Fantasy, which is me. I did my third draft of this season. Now that it's a lot closer to the real football season, I'm actually getting real excited. So I did my third draft. It was a PPR draft, point per reception, which is actually something I've never done before. I've always played standard leagues. So when I did this PPR league, it was kind of a first time thing for me. I didn't really do a whole lot of research on PPR strategies. I just kind of used what I thought might be good strategies personally. Um, I'm going to recap the picks I made, same as my other breakdowns. Right now, the roster setting for the team was QB, three running backs, three wide receivers, three flex of wide receiver or running back, two tight ends, a kicker, and a defense, and a 12-man bench. So a lot of slop on the bench. Um, I was given the fourth overall pick. QB passing TD is now 6 in this league instead of 4. A reception is a full point for a catch. A fumble lost is -1, not -2, and all field goals are 3. So those are the major rule changes for this league. Having a full point per reception, one of my first thoughts is that I want guys who catch a lot of balls, good tight ends, good wide receivers. It made me kind of devalue running backs, and maybe I was hugely wrong to do that. I've heard that by quite a few people already from since doing this draft, but maybe I'll get to prove them wrong. So I had pick number 4, AP, Arian Foster, Ray Rice went. I think it was Arian Foster 1, AP 2, Ray Rice 3 in that order. Next up on the chopping block was Jamal Charles. I have him in both my current leagues right now from before, so I didn't really want to draft him. Rashard Mendenhall was available, but he's not much of a pass catcher. I guess I could have gone with LaShawn McCoy. And once this is all over, leave me a comment. Let me know. Would you think my team would be a lot better with Sean McCoy as my #1 pick, as opposed to who I did pick, Andre Johnson? So I went out and got the best wide receiver in the league. Maybe not statistically, but skill-wise, skill set, body. The guy's a monster. And then with pick number 17, I went with another wide receiver. I went with Hakeem Nicks, which I'm pretty pumped about. So my first two picks, I have two wide receivers capable of being top 5 of their position, catching 70 to 90 balls. And if each ball they catch is a point, it's a nice boost. 75 catches is like 750 yards in a standard league. Pick number 3, having a 6-point TD for a QB to throw, I went with Phillip Rivers. I wanted an elite QB on my team. Some people kind of recommended that maybe you can wait for a QB later on, and since they are getting 6 points at TD, get someone like Eli later on. But I didn't really. I figured, screw it. I want an elite quarterback, which I almost never have them on my teams. So I went with Phillip Rivers. The guy throws tons of yards, throws tons of TDs, and at 6 points per TD, figure it can't really hurt. Pick number 4, I went with Jason Witten. The guy caught like 90 balls last year. I'm expecting him to catch 70 minimum this year. So that's why I went with him. Antonio Gates, Striker Finley, I think, had both been taken already. Dallas Clark was available, but I wanted the guaranteed like 75, 80 catch season, which I think Witten's going to give me. Sticking with receivers, and my next pick, I went with Dwayne Bowe. I was seriously starting to get scared that I hadn't picked an RB yet, and people are probably thinking the same thing for me. But I didn't really see one on the board that I was too pumped on taking. So I ended up getting Dwayne Bowe and giving myself another elite wide receiver. So now I'm starting 3 elite wide receivers, which I think is a good thing. With the next pick, I took Jeremy Maclin. I'm pretty high on Jeremy Maclin, to tell you the truth. Basically because I'm so low on Deshaun Jackson. I don't think much of Deshaun Jackson personally. I think Jeremy Maclin sees way more targets. He's way more consistent. Just an all-around better route runner, better player, if you ask me. So having Jeremy Maclin in one of those flex spots, I'm pretty pumped on. With my next pick, I finally got some running backs. I drafted Marshawn Lynch. Not a great value pick, I guess, but the guy is a pass catcher at times. I think despite missing some time last year, he had like 200 yards receiving. And my next pick, I picked Joseph Adai for the Colts, and he's a huge part of their offense when he's healthy, and I'm hoping he is ready for about 14 games this year. Because he's a good runner, even better pass catcher. He just really works with that team, and I'm hoping if Peyton Manning is nursing some injuries, then maybe they're going to need him even more. So there was my first two RBs, Marshawn Lynch and Joseph Adai. That's where I'm getting most of my flack from, with people thinking I'm way too weak at running back. But hopefully my strength at wide receiver will make up for it. With the next pick, I went back and grabbed Owen Daniels, another tight end. I figured this guy's a lock for like 60, 70 catches minimum. He looked great at the end of last year when he was finally fully recuperated from that injury that he missed almost the whole season with. So I'm looking to see a full 16-game season out of Owen Daniels with a lot of catches. And Matt Schaub, basically, Owen Daniels is his number 2 behind Andre Johnson. So I'm like that combo I have there. Anytime Matt Schaub's throwing the ball, chances are it's going to one of these two guys who are now on my team. My next pick, I went with Mike Sims Walker. You're going to notice here, like, I love my wide receivers. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's going to end up kicking me in the ass, biting me in the ass, but I love my wide receivers. I'm playing, I think, 6 in this league, because you have the 3 flex spots, and I'm going to have a wide receiver in all 3 spots. So I went with Mike Sims Walker in this pick. I had wanted Danny Amendola, since it's a PPR league, but he had just been taken. So I went with Mike Sims Walker on the same team. Their QB slings the ball tons. Sam Bradford, he's going to be a stud. The kid's making like 18 mil this year. He better live up to it. And Sims Walker's going to be hopefully his number 1 target. Maybe not for targets per game, but for yardage and yard total. Then with my next pick, I grabbed Lee Evans. He's looked great for Baltimore so far. He just loves, there's something about playing in Baltimore that he loves. If you just watch him play against them last year as a Bill. But with he's going to be the deep threat there, and they've got Joe Flacco, who has an extremely strong arm. They want him throwing the ball deep more, and Lee Evans will be the guy he'll be throwing deep to. So I kind of like that connection there. With my next pick, I grabbed Nate Burleson. I think this is kind of a steal. He's looked great in preseason action so far. He is the number 2 behind Calvin Johnson, as far as I know, and the guy is very, very talented. You see his TD catches so far this preseason. Every single one of them has a pretty high degree of difficulty in it. So I think having Nate Burleson on my team, my bench, is going to be a great option. I really needed to get another running back still. I only had 2, and you have to start 3. I ended up just getting the Danian Tomlinson. He's a pass catcher. I know he's the 3rd down back, if that. He's a backup to Sean Green. Sean Green, I have little to no faith in. One of my drafts last year, unfortunately, with my buddies, couldn't even make it to, and they auto-drafted me Sean Green as my number 1 pick. Huge bust. Killed me last year. I still, I think I broke about even on the season record-wise, but it was a struggle having him as my number 1 pick. And like I said, they auto-drafted for me. Number 2 was Randy Moss. Number 1 and 2 picks were Sean Green and Randy Moss. I got fucked in that draft. Or actually, I shouldn't have used that word, sorry. But having LT, I think, is not bad. He's a great pass catcher compared to Sean Green, so that's where I think the value is here, is that the fact that LT will be a pass catcher for them, and that's what I want him to do. I started grabbing some backups at this point. I think my roster was pretty much filled out besides kicker and defense. I grabbed Matt Stafford as my backup. He's a great backup option. Maybe someone will offer me a trade for him if he starts lighting up. I think the guy's got potential to finish as a top 10 QB alongside Phillip Rivers. Then I picked up Deion Branch, another veteran deep threat wide receiver playing for Tom Brady. They got some great chemistry together. He's a very crafty route runner, so I'm looking for him to have a pretty good season. I'm off my bench. Then I started grabbing some value picks just to make sure these guys don't get picked by someone else and end up having huge seasons. I grabbed Antonio Brown from Pittsburgh. If you've watched preseason, you know who this kid is. I grabbed Mike Williams from Seattle. Guys, he's quite a bit of targets. He's their number 1. I needed a backup running back to cover bye weeks, and I have a terrible one in Montario Hard SD, but hopefully the waiver wire will fix that. He's just there because I needed a running back on the roster. I grabbed Heath Miller as a backup tight end for bye weeks. He's very underrated, playing for Pittsburgh. And I grabbed Harry Douglas out of Atlanta. Like, if you watch preseason, you know who this guy is. And for another backup running back, I grabbed Leon Washington in case Marshawn Lynch gets hurt or benched or something. Another backup running back is Bernard Scott. Just trying to take some chances here, add some RB value to my team. Probably won't ever use these guys. They might just get dropped week 1, 2 for guys who have made some waiver moves. I grabbed Anthony Armstrong, the deep threat in Washington. He was quite a surprise last year, 3rd highest yards per catch in the whole entire league. So because he's in big things from this year. I grabbed Victor Cruz, huge preseason last year, having a good season again this year. Maybe the Giants will decide this is the year they want to use him in regular season games, so I grabbed him. For defense and kicker, I have Arizona. It's a good week 1 matchup against Carolina. After that, I'm sure I'll drop them and grab someone else with a good matchup. And then my kicker is New York Giants kicker Lawrence Tynes. Good offense, good QB there, good couple running backs. I'm hoping that offense puts up some points and gets in field goal range a lot. So that is my very first PPR team. Feel free to tell me how shitty it is. Feel free to tell me how amazing it is. Tell me where I can make improvements. Would LaShawn McCoy over Andre Johnson make my team a whole lot better? Would it just be a bit of a help at running back, but not enough? Do you think my strategy of going very, very heavy wide receiver is going to pay off? Maybe it's going to work. 1 point per catch. If I have wide receivers catching me 5 catches a game, that's another 5 points per person. Whereas a running back like Mendenhall, Turner, they don't catch the ball. They don't get those bonuses. That's why I think maybe McCoy would have been the better choice at the first pick. But I got Andre. I love the guy. I love watching him play. I love cheering for him. So, guys, that is my team. Check it out. You can go to my blog at koopafantasy.wordpress.com if you want to read about the team. It's a bit more in depth there. You can see the entire league settings, stats, the number of teams in there. You can rate the team on the blog. The little 5 stars at the top of the thing. Just if it sucks, give it 1 star. If you think it's amazing, give it a 5 star. I have 2 other draft breakdowns posted. You can check them out. They're not PPRs, but you can rate them as well. You can leave comments if you'd like. Just guys, give me some feedback. Let me know that what I'm doing is actually being viewed and appreciated by someone out there. All it takes is 1 person for me to feel as though what I'm doing is worthwhile. So subscribe, like the video, do whatever you need. Show me to your friends. Maybe they'll think what I'm talking about is interesting too. Fantasy football is an addiction, and I am addicted. Peace, guys.